Hello everybody, welcome to a rainy day in France. I've decided to retire to my bare room today. I'm slightly worn out with the potential house move. We've been tidying and decorating and boxing and storing for the last 2 weeks, and if we don't sell, we've got a really tidy house that's all lovely and decorated and repainted, and it's all fresh and beautiful, and all the rubbish is gone, which is wonderful. So I guess you could call that nesting. If we do sell, we're ready to go. So we're going to see. So we've decided as a family to give it 6 months, keep it on the market for 6 months and see what happens. If it doesn't sell, then we will live here and we will put stables in and do the work here ourselves. But we'll see. So 6 months we've got of living out of boxes and in a very, very tidy house. It's great. It's a good education for the kids because they're having to tidy up after themselves, which is normally mummy's job. So it's been good. So today I am in my bear room. I've got a very old bear here in this bag that I'm going to restore and show you all. There's not really a lot else I can report on, to be fair, because we've just been tidying up. That's it. We've had that amazing delivery of rugs, which is just beyond words. I cannot thank the ladies enough for them. They are incredible, really, really, really special. And heartfelt gifts for the legends, and you know they really, really have touched us. So to have those, they're put away nicely in the tack room, which again, as Nick said in the other video, we will show you around at some point. Little Lily, she's still with us, just about. She's actually asleep under my desk at the moment. She's all wrapped up in her blanket. I'm having to syringe water into her 3 or 4 times a day, unfortunately, but it's a really difficult situation because we're at the point. She wags her tail, she's pleased to see you, she's eating all the time. I'm giving her water, she's going to the toilet like she should do. She's been to the vet 3 times since I last spoke to you. She's on some special tablets and she's stable. So I kind of feel I don't want to be syringing water into her to keep her going, but at the same time, she's not unhappy. She's a happy little dog. So I guess with all the other things I look after, it's neither here nor there to syringe water into Lily to keep her going. So at the moment, she's very, very happy. She sleeps on my bed. She's with me all the time. She doesn't leave me. I make sure she gets the water as and when she needs it. She's on a special food. So she's having irregular blood tests and she's stable at the moment all the time I'm syringing her. The problem is if I'd stop syringing her, she doesn't drink. So, and then we're going to be going down that slippery slope. So I'll just keep syringing her. Why not? Haven't got anything else to do. And we love her dearly. So it's lovely to be, you know, this final, we know this is the final few months with Lily, and to be able to do this for her and have her with us all of the time is really special. So, and she feels very loved. So I think if anything, she's not drinking on purpose because she quite enjoys the attention. So yeah, so she's due a syringe in about half an hour. I'm going to go and get my apron and get myself a cup of tea. And then I'm going to come back in and get on with this bear so I can show you all what I've been up to. So we will see you in a moment. Okay, so you probably saw at the beginning of the video, I had to wind up all my clocks. The poor old things had wound down to nothing and they were silent, and it was very weird walking into my room and not having the lovely ticking of the clocks and the chimes going off. So yes, I've rewound those all up and they're all going again. None of them work in time. I just like the sound. I mean, they all sort of tell the time. I can kind of guess. I know that if I look at that one, it's 10 minutes faster. And if I look at this one, it's 10 minutes slower. But at some point, I guess I'll get around to putting them back to the right time. But at the moment, I find the sound of them so therapeutic. So they're all wound up. They're all donging at different times. The time's never right. Hey ho, it's just our lives in general, really. Everything's a little bit crazy and just how we love it. I've got behind here, these bears were supposed to go to I was doing a craft fair a couple of weeks ago at a chateau locally. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. We had a bit of sickness run through the family. All the kids got ill and everything else. So it was unfortunate that I couldn't go. So I've got 3 bears here. Well, you know Pompadour. He's going to obviously have to finish his restoration, but he's quite happy. You can see again, and he hasn't got a headache anymore. So I think he's quite happy as he is for the time being. And these 2 guys here, which will ultimately, well, would be for sale. So I'll advertise those on my Facebook page, which I can put a link in if anyone's interested. And I've got a small one over here at the back, which I won't lean over and get, because if I do, I'm probably going to knock the camera over, which I'm currently creating into a dog, I think. So we will watch how he progresses. Maybe I won't show you, because I'm not entirely sure he looks like a dog. I don't know what he looks like. He was supposed to be a bear, but Nick decided he looked like a dog, so I've gone with dog. But we will see. I'll show you. He's a surprise. So let's get to the bear in this bag. So this is an old bear. Oh dear, very old bear. Looks like he needs a bit of love. He's got button eyes, which I've been asked to replace, but keep the buttons on him. So I'm going to probably make him a little waistcoat so he can have his buttons on his waistcoat, and he'll have some new eyes. He's very, very flimsy. He's been very, very well loved, as you can see. His limbs have all been stitched back on by hand. This one's nearly off, so we need to put those ones back on again. Yeah, all his limbs are loose. And he's definitely going to need a little bit of restuffing. And he smells good, actually. He smells good. He doesn't smell like he's got any rot in there or anything. He smells lovely. Ooh, so yeah, so he needs a bit of a clean and a bit of a spruce up and some strength. And I will just check there's nothing untoward going on inside. I need to, because I'd need to take his stuffing out anyway, just to check him over. But he's yeah, he's a lovely old bear, and I think his little ribbon here we'll definitely put back on, because that's in good condition. We'll just give it a little bit of flattening so it's not quite so screwed up, and yeah, and then that'll be ready to go. So what I will do is I will turn the camera around, and we'll start taking him apart slowly, and he will be, hopefully in the next couple of hours, restored and ready to go home to his owner. Okay, so here we are with our little bear. I'm going to start by taking off his limbs, very gently removing all this old cotton here where they've just been stitched on. Someone's very, very carefully stitched these back on to try and hold them in place. So I'll do that, and I'll speed this bit up for you so you haven't got to sit and watch me painstakingly unstitch all these tiny little bits on his arms and his legs. Okay, so we have one bear, 2 legs and 2 arms. The amount of cotton that has gone into these arms and legs, you can see all the different colours. It must have been stitched about 4 or 5 times back on. I cannot believe this bear actually still has its original limbs. Someone has spent many, many hours putting the limbs back on this bear lots and lots of times, because they've obviously been pulled off. Looking at him, they are actually they would have been stitched on the outside, so they would very easily have been, you know, pulled if they were tugged, or he was handled quite harshly. He would have ended up yeah, with his limbs falling off. I've also his head. This is look away if you're squeamish. We're going to have to remove his head. His head has been stitched on as well, so he's completely and utterly. He's going to be in 4 pieces. Oh, that's interesting. He's got wool in him. Oh, and appears to be a sock. We shall have a look. So again, I'm going to forward this bit for you, so you haven't got to sit and painstakingly watch me take it apart, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we have a head and we have a body and we have 4 limbs. And now it's going to be taking apart or taking out what's inside so we can see what's gone on. Yeah, we've got all sorts in here. There's wood wool, and there is some what appears to be an old sock that's been broken up and put in there. Yeah, so I'm going to replace this wood wool because it's very very dusty. I think it's seen better days, to be fair, and it's very smelly, and I should be wearing my mask. So I'm just going to, the joys of not knowing where anything is. Normally I'm quite organised in here, but today I am not. So I'm going to turn you off whilst I find my mask, and then I will come back masked up to remove this. Okay, so I have my mask. We're now going to remove the stuff in and see what's in here. So his little nose has been stitched through the wood wool that's here, and as it's coming off anyway, it's barely there. I'm just going to take out those last few stitches and we'll give him a new nose, and then I'll be able to get the whole of the wood wool out. So we'll just stitch, literally going to snip these last few little bits in his nose out. I can get the wood wool out. Sorry if I sound a bit muffled now. Obviously I'm wearing a mask, so I'll speak up if I can. We're getting there. There. Should come out a bit easier now. So this bear's in for preservation. He's not in for how much he's worth. He's in because the owner doesn't want him to perish any more than he already has. So I'm given free rein to do what I can to preserve him, which you'll find with a lot of bears. It really does depend on the owner and whether they want them preserved or whether they want them restored with a view to sell. And obviously if you're restoring a bear that is for that has monetary value, you don't do this, what I'm doing now. You certainly don't take it apart. But if you're restoring a bear to preserve it, sometimes this is necessary. So this little bear, to be preserved, he's going to need, as I say, new stuffing and new stitching, and so he will look very different when he's done. So yeah, we're just going to slowly take all these old threads out that are around his neck. Looks like he's got a necklace on. And then we'll this is the bit. This is so time consuming, taking these tiny little threads out. You wouldn't believe it, because a lot of them are knotted, you know, when you stitch and then you knot it through and you pull it, and then you do a few more, and then you knot it through and you pull it, and then you do a few more. Or if you imagine on this bear, it's got like 6 different coloured cottons on it, where it's been stitched so many times and it's got many of those knots. So I'm going to have to spend a lot of time pulling these little knots out before I can do anything with stitching his head back onto his body. So I'm going to do that, and the same with his arms and his legs, which appear to have been stitched on even more than his head. So yeah, he's had a lot of love, bless his heart. Right, so that stuffing's out, so I can take my mask off for a minute. And now we've got a nice little head. It's got a shape again. We need to take these little eyes out and give him back some original eyes. Again, I've been given permission to do this by the owner. They want to keep the eyes, but the eyes are going to go on a little jacket for him. So he'll still have his button eyes on his jacket where they belong, and he'll have new eyes so he can actually see again, which will be quite impressive for him, I think. Not sure how many years he's had buttons for eyes. So now it's just trying to get this thread out without, you don't want to cut the actual fabric. There you go. Perfect. Oh, I best find that button. Hold on. One button is okay. So I'm going to put my button in my very safe dish here, my little owl. So I'll put him in there, and then we'll get the other button off as well. of a button in the dish ready to go. So now he has no eyes, or no button eyes. This is where you discover he's got a hole or something in his face, but he hasn't, which is very good and very handy. So we'll just take out, the only thing with stuffing, always gets in your mouth. I'm eating it for days after I've done bears. Okay, so yeah, this has been, oh, someone's taken their time with this, because this has been stitched on the outside of the fabric. It hasn't gone right through, so the underside of the fabric, there's no stitching. On the outside there is, so this has actually been stitched onto the fluff rather than the actual fabric itself. Okay, so that's all out and ready to go. He's got a tiny little tongue. See, look at minute, his tiny little tongue on there, to give that little clean and pull it out a bit, so he's got a bit more of a tongue again. Phew. Right, okay, so I'm going to do the limbs, which are, I'm going to put my mask back on for that, and I'm going to speed it up because this bit's messy, itchy, smelly. Yeah, not necessarily nice. So I'm just going to speed you up for this, and then at the end we'll have an empty bear, and yeah, we'll be ready to start restoring or preserving, depending on what you want to call it. Okay, so he's all unstuffed, and I'm just looking at his little body here to try and work out whether his legs were attached through little slits in the actual body itself and then stitched on the inside. So I'm trying to see whether someone has stitched up the holes where they could have been. It looks like his legs could possibly be. I don't know about his arms. So yeah, it's just now trying to work out. It's getting rid of this stuffing and any stitching that looks like it shouldn't be there, to discover whether there are any little holes where I could pop his legs back in to make them a little bit more stable when they go back on, so they go back in the right place. But someone very kindly, where they fixed the bear, have used lots of different coloured threads, so I can actually see what's supposed to be there and what's not supposed to be there, which is quite handy because Nick's got my glasses and I've got his glasses. He must have a really big head because every time I put them on they keep slipping down off the end of my nose, so they're no use. So I'm trying to see without my glasses, which is quite hard. That's what happens, see. I think it's once they told me I was geriatric because I'm pregnant at 40. I realised, and I was like, it's over now. That's it. 40 years old, pregnant, geriatric parents. So yeah, so there you go. So I need my glasses to be able to see what I'm doing. I just can't quite see if this, no, I don't think he did. Looking at this, I think his legs were literally stitched on the outside of his body, which would be why he kept losing them. This is his tail here. It's got a little tiny little tail on the end, which has been stitched. That's been stitched like that on the inside, so his tail never came off, but his legs did. So we'll have to just yeah, stitch them back on the outside, because I don't want to cut him, because obviously that's not how he was done. No, he's a nice clean, it's like a little bag at the moment, just a little purse with a tail. So we'll stitch his legs back on the outside once he's had a brush up and he's all been cleaned off. So he's quite a nice little restoration, this one. He shouldn't take me too long. And he's yeah, he's looking good already, even though he's in bits. So I'm going to get this thick stuff off from around the top, so when I stitch him back together again, it will be all smooth. And then we'll yeah, and then we'll be able to put him back together again. Nice and quick. Okay, so he's all apart. He's ready to have a clean and be restuffed, and yeah, and have some new eyes. He's going to feel like a new man. Oh, I can feel, sorry, Oscar's. I can feel Oscar moving around in here. He's the stranger. It doesn't matter how many times I've been pregnant, obviously 3 times before, and that he never gets old. It's the strangest feeling when something's moving around in your stomach. And he's big now, so it really feels funny. We've got a scan on Wednesday, which is really exciting. Our last scan before he's born. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. We'll see. We'll obviously show you the pictures, and hopefully if we can film the scan in the scan room, we will. But I don't know whether they'll let us do that. But we'll definitely show you the pictures. But he's yeah, he's well and truly making Mama Moon extremely large and very, very uncomfortable. I've got all my Moon boys though. They're all looking after me. So I'm very lucky in that respect. But yeah, no, he's heavy. This is a heavy baby. I think he's like, I don't know if it's the same as if you like have a fish in a goldfish bowl. If you give them a really small bowl, they stay small. And if you give them a really big bowl, they get big. Well, having had 3 children, I think there's quite a lot of room in there now. And I think he's just decided to grow and fill every bit of it. Because he's so big. I can feel him when I stand up. He's so heavy. So yeah, we can't wait to meet him. He's due in December. So it won't be long, and we'll be packing up our little bag, our hospital bag, ready to go. Rue keeps going in the bedroom and taking all the stuff out. He wants to do it now, but I always do it when they're 7 weeks before, because Nick was born 7 weeks premature. So I like to just make sure I'm ready at that point. You know, if they follow in their dad's footsteps and they come 7 weeks early, then I'll be ready. Hopefully they won't. We think he'll be a week earlier than the due date we've been given, but the hospital are convinced he's going to be on the 21st. So, but we think he'll be a week before in December. So we'll have to see when he comes. I can't believe he can get much bigger. He feels absolutely massive now. But he will get bigger. He'll keep filling up all that room. So yeah, he'll be fun. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be a busy Yuletide or Christmas or whatever everyone calls it, but it's going to be a busy time for us. Newborn baby, and we celebrate the 12 days of Yule. We spread it out for the children. They don't get all their presents on Christmas morning. We did that, and it was just too much. It was, so we now do one present every day for the 12 days of Yule, starting from the 21st. And those presents sometimes consist of just going out for the day or going for a picnic, or you know, or they get gifts. And on Christmas Eve, they get stockings from Father Christmas. So yeah, we spread it out, because otherwise it's just bedlam. And we found that with them getting all the presents and the whole high, getting up in the morning and everything being, you know, all so exciting, and then Boxing Day it's all over. It was, you know, it was a great time, and it was also a very emotional time, and it was just too much. So we decided we were going to start spreading it over these 12 days. And there's a lovely way of doing it. We'll show you. We celebrate each day. Each day we will represent a word. It can be, you know, pride, or honesty, or a word of some, you know, we think them up on the 21st. We do a list of 12 words, and every day we talk about that word, and we talk about in the year how we might have used it, or how it's sort of come into our life, or what we've done with this word. So it's really good. It's a good education for the kids. It keeps everyone thinking. It keeps everyone grateful, which is really important, because I can't bear it when children aren't grateful. And our boys, we're very lucky. We're hammering into them all of the time, and yeah, they're very grateful, and they're really good kids, and we're really lucky. So we've changed it to that way. So it's an interesting way. It's an unusual way. Not everyone would like it. My brother thinks I'm mad, but for me, I think it's the best way for our boys, and I love to see them. The excitement is for 12 full days. So as you can imagine, that's very exciting. And also when they get something, so they get a gift in the morning and they play with it all day. So it's not like they have like 20 gifts under the tree and they don't know what they've got, and they, you know, it all just gets put on the stairs and put in their bedrooms, and they forget and find, you know, a month later what they had. They actually take it in, and all day they will play with that item that they've been given. And it really means a lot to me to see that. And I think that's really important, that they actually are, you know, grateful, and they take in what they've been given and they enjoy it. Because when I was a kid, that's what you did. You enjoyed your toys. And now it's a bit of a throwaway society. And as you know, by my room and how old fashioned I am, I hate that. I absolutely hate it. So I've tried really hard to make sure the kids are taking what they've got around them, enjoy what they have, and and then the next day they go, well, the evening they go to bed again, and they have it the next day, another little gift under the tree for them to have. So yeah, but they don't miss out on stockings from Father Christmas, and obviously the reindeers come and they leave their bells, and we little bits of hair in the bells, and the carrots get chewed, and it's all very exciting. It's a mad time of year here around the festive season, as you can imagine, and it's going to be interesting either waiting for a newborn baby to be born or having a newborn baby. So there'll be one to follow. Anyway, I'm going to get back on with this dear old bear because I could chat for hours, and I shall be back in a moment. So I'm going to go and get the stuff to give him a bit of a wash, and then we will put him back together again. Okay, we're back from our small wash. He's had a surface wash and lots of dirt came out of him, so he's a little bit damp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here because I need to get the fire going and sit him nice in front of the fire so he can warm up on a chair and let him dry thoroughly before I put any more new stuffing in him, because obviously we don't want to put stuffing into damp material. Ordinarily, if the bear was an antique bear, you wouldn't wash him, but this guy, he's about 50 years old. He's got very, very good fabric, and it didn't do him any harm at all just to have a good old surface wash and get rid of all the dirt on him. Not that he smelt very clean, but he definitely had a few bits of sticky stuff on him, but that's all gone now, so he's lovely and fluffy, but he just needs to dry properly. I've got this great shampoo out here that you can get. It's designed for antique and old fabric, so it's really, really good. So I use this and froth it up, get the bubbles, and you just clean the outside of the fur and just brush through gently with a toothbrush, and just keep brushing, and then just gently wipe it off with some warm water on a rag or a towel, and they come up really nice. But yeah, I don't want to rush him, so I need to put him somewhere so he can dry properly, and then tomorrow I will finish him and upload the second vlog of how he looked and how he felt after he'd been finished. I managed to find some glasses as well whilst I was in the kitchen. They're slightly funky, but at least I can see what I'm doing now. And I've just got one more thing to show you. I felt it was appropriate as I'm in my bear room. Very sadly, my dear Nan died of COVID a few months ago. In fact, it was when we took Udaya to Sadie at the Pethericks. And strangely, like you do, obviously we knew Sadie because we met her before, but I hadn't met the rest of the family. And the day that we arrived with Udaya was the day of my nan's funeral. And because we couldn't go back, because obviously I'm pregnant, we watched it on Zoom. The most unusual thing I've ever done. Amazing, incredible, you can do that nowadays. But so it was a very emotional day. We were saying goodbye to Udaya, and I had a funeral, and I was pregnant, and it was all a bit much. But my nan left me something very special in her will, and he arrived, and I can't tell you how absolutely I'm just so happy. I can't tell you. So this is Dorian, he's called. He's a Charlie bear. I got this from my nan years ago, and I didn't think for 1 minute he'd ever come back to me. I mean, obviously I prefer my nan to be here, but she was a very old lady. She was 96, and COVID eventually caught her. In fact, the last time I spoke to her, she said to me, I said, "Oh, love you, Nan, speak to you next week." And she said, "Oh, I hope not, dear. I want to go now. I want to go and join my dad, who's also passed away, and her husband." So yeah, it was one of those moments where I thought, oh, and that was the last time I spoke to her. And then she told my mum for her birthday all she wanted to do was to go and join her family, and she did the next day. So it's quite amazing. And she left me this bear. I mean, come on. Oh, there are no words to tell you how much I love him, and having baby Oscar come in, it's just so special with what I do, and to have a bear like this, I can't tell you. He's phenomenal. Love him, means so much to me, and she's with me all the time now. So she sits in my bear room with me, and yeah, and I every time I look at old Dorian here, I feel immensely proud and to say that she was my nan, and yeah, and here he is. He made it all the way out to France. To come and live back as a moon with me. But on that note, his little friend here needs to dry, so I'm going to go and light the fire in the living room. I'm going to stick him on a chair in front of the fire so he dries nicely. Take my Lily with me, give her next syringe of water and her little bit of food and her tablet that she needs. And then I might put my feet up for 5 minutes in front of the fire and watch a bit of TV and have a cup of tea. And then I've got to go and start all the school runs because we've got to pick up Rupert and we've got to pick up Charlie and we've got to pick up Toby and we've got to do all the normal Mummy Moon things that I do in a day. And then it will be horses time, and then it will be dinner time, and then it will be eventually bedtime, and then Oscar wakes up and keeps me awake all night. So hey, I thrive on it. But anyway, so from me and Dorian and this lovely little bear that's been washed, we shall see you tomorrow.